Lamm und Kirch is a Berlin and Leipzig-based graphic design studio who have won many, many awards, who work in very different media, coming originally from a lot of print works and publications to websites to entire campaigns. I had the honor to work with them on a very, very large project a couple of years ago that I think we will hear about too. Juxtapositions is actually also done by one half of Lamm und Kirch, and funny enough, tonight Jakob Kirch of Lamm und Kirch is with us. Florian Lams unfortunately got sick this morning, and he did this one based on images that were found on my super old Tumblr page, but this is kind of how these images came about. And when we were waiting half an hour ago outside, Jakob actually asked, but who did this and who put that typo on there? It's like, well, it was actually Florian. So this is partner in crime. That said, Jakob, thank you for making it all the way from Leipzig, because he actually lives in Leipzig and he came for us, for you, to Berlin to talk about their work. It's particularly important. Warm applause, please. It's very important for me because the work with graphic designers is so important in all of cultural production. It's like this kind of the glue in between, or the mediation. For all of my projects that I do, they're very visual. They're all content-based, and they come kind of from a conceptual base, but the visual identity is super important. That's how you kind of approach the masses. That's how you communicate it. So I've been working with many, many different graphic designers over the last decades. And yeah, Lamm und Kirch is a very special duo to work with, and really one where I also learned a lot about how to best translate an idea. Jakob, please come to the stage and we give another warm applause.
Okay. Do we need the microphone? Is it on? Yeah. Okay. Welcome tonight. Thanks for the invitation. I'm one part of the design studio, Lamm und Kirch, and it's a really stupid name because these are just our names. And this is Florian Lamm and Jakob Kirch, and we live in Berlin and Leipzig, but today it's only me. So Florian is always the guy who is pushing the button on the computer, and today I can do this, so I can play a little bit. And we started to work together more than 13 years ago. And our first work was an exhibition we took in Lucerne together with people from Lucerne about the graphic design of Leipzig and Lucerne for the first Weltformat Festival. That is a festival for graphic design works from all over the world. And there I met my wife, and and now I'm living in Leipzig since 23 years, sorry. We both studied at the Academy of Visual Arts, Hochschule für Grafik und Buchkunst. We both studied graphic design and typography and Buchkunst. Hello. And yeah, in 2008 I did my diploma. Florian did his diploma in 2012, and I hope that Florian will speak here tonight and not me, because I'm not a big fan of speaking like now. I like the written word and I like images, but I hate it to talk. And I'm not really good in speaking English, so often I lose words and often I change the vocabulary, because I'm a little bit one of these people that are, how it's called in English, like this. So I can smell when I'm talking my own language. Okay, that's a little bit difficult. No, I'm not kidding. I think that's the reason why I'm a graphic designer, because when I do graphic design, I can hear when I see visual things and the other thing around. So for me, rhythm, typography, color, image is always one thing. There's no difference between it. It's all about rhythm and sound. And Rhythm and Sound, you know Rhythm and Sound, one of the best music groups. Filipe von Oswald. Okay. Okay, this was our first work we did in 2012. At the end, I did it because Florian did his diploma, and it was the best paid job till now. After that, we hoped we can work each other and have a lot of more best paid jobs, but it wasn't like this. What I will show you now is a short introduction in our works that are mostly books, but today I don't want to talk about books, because books are in a way an absolute format. And the absolute format means you need it in your hand to feel the format and to feel the material and how it's working. So it makes no sense to talk about a book, in my eyes, on a presentation like this, but you need a big table and you need a lot of books and you have to look between the books, typography, the smell and all this stuff. And that's the reason I talk today about the things that are more based on images, of combining images, images, typography, and forms. So at the end, these are corporate identities. And this is 50% of our work. 50% is making books, creating books together with artists. We are only working with artists, with cultural institutions, or like performance artists, theaters, visual artists, sound artists, and all the things between everything. A lot of architects, more and more, and theories. And the first, I want to show you 5 different projects now. This is the first one, and I want to show how we come to a visual result. Okay. The first thing is urbane Künste. We did a pitch and we won it, and we do the corporate identity since 2018. And with that job, but that's the secret, we have 40% of our income, so it's very important for us. This is a festival without an institution. That means they don't have a location, but they're always searching for new locations to show art to the public in the Ruhrgebiet area. I hope everything of you know this. There's a big, I would call it a over-city, or a kind of a Teppich, what's called? Like a carpet of 6 million people with 53 small or bigger cities. And there are a lot of different poles in this area, where we could see, and there are a lot of cultural changes at the moment. The last coal miners were gone, I think 4 or 5 years ago. You have a lot of unemployment, you have a lot of empty spaces, you have a lot of old factories without any use at the moment, and then say, hey, please culture, come to us, fill our empty spaces and create something new. This is on the one way really good, and on the other hand it's a big problem, because you say to the cultural people or people working in cultural fields, you have to do what maybe the politics have to do. But they give a lot of money to these cultural projects, and that was the reason we stay there as well. And our basic concept was to have a dialogue between 2 poles. That's position and movement, Bewegung in Germany, position and movement, yeah. And we were collecting a lot of images for the kind of a mood board. This stuff, movement means at one point you are moving, and the movement is on the same time eine Bewegung wie die Arbeiterbewegung, or people, like right-wing, left-wing party, all this stuff. You move, or you will be moved, all these things are in this. And position means on the same time that it's always about you and another person, or another object. So it's always a reflection between you and something other. For this, we created a font It's called Folio 8. Later we called it UKR, for Urbane Künste Ruhr. And the special thing on this type, this is maybe for somebody who that is common with type. A light font and the black font has the same width. It's not very often in the type, so we could use it for. I'm looking for a variable font, and a variable font is a font that always have the same width, but is working from light to bold on the same time. We used it, and you can use this kind of type for a lot of different things. For example, you can use the compass tool for the iPhone, and you can put these things together. Or you can create animations like this. It's like dancing. And the constellation between the visual elements is like the logotype, Urbane Künste Ruhr, and we combine it together with the idea of position and movement. That is in our ways kind of play between sharp and unsharpened forms. We have the positions of the artist, that's the artwork, and we are playing with forms that are kind of a separator between all these things. This could be, for example, an animated poster. These are the options of the type. What I'm showing you now is the things we created in 2018. Now we have 2023. In the last 5 years, a lot of things changed. What we did here now was at that time really new. At the moment, it's a little bit boring. But I want to show it because, or no, it wasn't. It was maybe now it's common, and 5 years ago it was new. That sounds more positive. For a corporate identity or a corporate design, we did everything. That means we did envelopes, we did cards, we did letterheads, all this stuff. This was the first exhibition we did for this, for Peggy Boot, vom Nutzen der Angst. These are the posters for it. We did leaflets, we did a lot of advertising, small booklets. This is a website, like a microsite. And on the website you can see how we use the type a little bit. We create for each exhibition an own microsite that are working like this, for example. So not a lot of moves, but a little bit. Like irritation. This is a bigger website, or how it's called, the head website, with a lot of informations in it. And we did this together with another graphic design company called Liebermann Kieper Redemann. Maybe they were here for some years ago to do a workshop as well, or a lecture. And they're in more digital design, and they can code much better than us. And they created this website with us together. And for each festival, we did each festival format or each exhibition format, we created specific designs. This was for Roding Territorien in 2019. And just be really fast to see the different things we did. Stupid things as well, like making big banners on container, but it was working really well. Another thing was for Roding Klima, working with images as well, but working with these forms of a climate diagram as a trace. The images we used are all done by a really, really good photographer called Mr. Holtgreve, Heinrich Holtgreve, and Heinrich Holtgreve is part of Ostkreuz, really important from Berlin here. photo company or a photo, how can we call it, photo company, but it's a photo school, but it's they're working as a like Magnum, like an agency. Thanks. Yeah, the posters, flyers, magazines, website, and the on-site stuff as well. We do for other smaller or bigger exhibitions, graphic stuff as well. So you can see maybe the dimensions of the posters or the things we did. This is Zeche Zollverein in Essen. It's a really, really huge building, and we have this banner on it. I think it's 10 meters or more. It's nothing. It looks like a stamp. In the urban space, it's really important for the festival to have or to use the options of the urban space to show we are part of the urban society. And this is the last one, Roding Schlaf. The opening was 3 days ago. It was a really, really beautiful opening. We had a lot of fun there. Maybe that's the reason why Florian is ill now. But yeah, this was on the kiosk there. More or less live image 3 days ago. We create a lot of magazines for these institutions as well. Today, or I think three weeks ago, we had the 8th issue. Sorry. And for the first issues, it's more or less conservative in the layout, a little bit playing with the images, creating kind of a semi-collage. And with time and time, you're getting more and more wild, open. We had a lot of negative feedback. Of course, it's not readable. But on the same time, everybody said, yeah, but it looks well. Or it's interesting, or you have to read because it looks interesting. And when it's easy to read, maybe you wouldn't read it. So readability for us is a huge point of discussion for the dialogue between me and Florian, but for the clients as well. And we are often working on the on the maximum level of what is printable, so or what can be bound. That's a problem for the bookbinders as well, and that's the reason why we are always looking for good printers or for good producers, because this is the base for a good product. And that's the people of the printing house can trust us. So we see all our work as a process of all the people that are within. So we don't see each or us as a business partner, and somebody says, okay, you have to do it like this, and then we do that. But we think it's a big and huge discussion process. Okay, here we had a lot of discussion. Yeah. Okay, maybe another project. It's another focus. Bauhaus, 100 years of Bauhaus. I'm sure you all know about it. Some years ago. And like all other institutions, Staatlichen Kunstsammlung in Dresden, Albertinum wanted to make an exhibition about this as well. And they asked us to create a book and the corporate identity. Corporate identity means all visual materials that go to the public and promote the exhibition. And we did the on-site promotion and the inside promotion as well, like all these small stickers and all this stuff there, but maybe to that, later to that. Our idea was to have focus on the famous Bauhaus-Bücher from Kandinsky, Punkt und Linie zur Fläche. And he did a really interesting how it's called, theory about multisensoric or about synthesia. That means, for example, yellow is always a triangle. Red is a square, and blue is a circle. And he creates that to the angle, because a small angle means aggressive, that means a triangle, that means yellow. Yellow is aggressive, blue is slow, and a bit lazy, and all this stuff. And that's the reason why the Bauhaus logo, maybe you know the old Bauhaus logo, has a triangle, a red square, and a blue dot. But we said, okay, the whole Bauhaus thing is about red, yellow, and blue, and we said, okay, fuck off. We use orange and violet because this is between this. And orange and violet means on the same time you have an angle of 60 degrees and 120 degrees. And then we said, okay, we use these types. This is maybe a link to the Bauhaus area, and then we show them the visual material that looks like this. They said, oh, wow, great, you have a very, very good concept. This is astonishing, it looks great. We want to have it. And 2 years, 2 days after that, we had a call and said, I think the audience in Dresden is not educated enough to understand what this is about. Or the people at its own, because this is not Bauhaus, but it's new. And it doesn't look like Bauhaus, but it looks like a tuning company or something like this. And we did another piece for this to make it a little bit more slow or to make it more readable. They said, okay, but 2 days after this, they said, no, sorry. And by the way, we changed the title. And that's now a big problem for a graphic designer, because I have to maybe talk about what is written there. The problem is for a poster or for a flyer or whatever, they want to promote 3 exhibitions. And the first exhibition is called Zukunftsräume Kandinsky, Mondrian, Lissitzky und die abstrakt-konstruktive Avantgarde in Dresden 1919 bis 1932, first exhibition. Second exhibition, Piet Mondrian from the artist Heimo Zobernich, and the last exhibition is called Demonstrationsräume of the artists Capuana Kiwanga, Celine Condorelli and Judy Radul. The problem is you have a title that is too big to read, nobody can think about this, and the most important thing is Zukunftsräume is the main title, but must be smaller than Kandinsky, Mondrian, Lissitzky, because these are the important artists. And Piet Mondrian, on the same time, is an exhibition name from Heimo Zobernich. It's not possible. So we have a really, how it's called, it's like a Sackgasse.
Like a dead end.
Thanks. I'm also asking, like a dead end. This is for graphic designers a dead end. What can you deal with this now? And they want to have images. And they have a great logo. It's a red dot. And they want to have the duration time, and they want to have really big Albertinum Dresden. That's, yeah. Okay. And then we started to work again. Maybe like this. Maybe like that. Maybe like this. I skipped now for 20, 30 images on maybe for 1 month. We always send some new images, new stuff. Then we started with images. Chuck, chuck, chuck. So it's creating a lot of discussions. This was maybe the last one. No, it's not. Maybe this one? No. Okay. A lot of variations. Then we came to that point. And then we said, okay, this is great. And then they thought, no, we don't have the right to use this image. Please use another one. The whole design was maybe based at the end that you have curved forms and you have really strict forms. They said, you have to use it like this. Okay, we said, okay, great, then we do it like this. And after that, they said, we need an image of Piet Mondrian, Heimo Zobernich. This is that guy. And it must be colored. And that's the reason why it looks at the end like this. So it was a really, really long term to come from first idea to a piece looking like this. And nobody sees this is a piece of a very, very long and in a way a silly combination of a lot of people have different ideas of communication, have different ideas of wording, and it all starts with text, or with the usability of text, or how easy can text be set and all this stuff. This is how it looks in the city, so it looks well. But till now, this is a really, really silly title. Nobody can read Zukunftsräume, Kandinsky, Mondrian, Lissitzky und die abstrakt-konstruktive Avantgarde in Dresden 1919 bis 1932. It's just horrible. And I hope we found a graphic solution how to combine maybe the two smaller exhibitions. But we did a lot of visual material for them, and we had a lot of fun with them. Posters, flyers, banners, like this one. But we had a good chance to use a Litfaßsäule. Nobody can afford it. In Dresden, it's possible. Hey. Folding plan. Begleitprogramm. Have a look on the Begleitprogramm. If you ever did a Begleitprogramm, and last but not least, that guy, banners, 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 banners. We did the on-site graphic design for the exhibition as well. And the exhibition was done by the great Guest Professor, Kooperative für Darstellungspolitik. He did the exhibition design, but we did the graphic work for this, really, really huge pieces. Money, 100 years Bauhaus. And we did this small exhibition places there as well. And last but not least, this is my favorite piece, the sprinter of the museum. And it was the first and the last time till now I created a constructive art on a Mercedes Sprinter.
In the end, it is a tuning agency.
Sorry?
So in the end, it is a tuning agency.
Yeah. This was the reason I told you. At the end, it was a tuning agency, and there's a small detail there. And this is the Tankdeckel, and it was part of the Moholy-Notch construction. So this is we had a lot of fun. I did with some local guys from a suburb of Dresden. We had a lot of fun. Okay, next one, Living the City, together with Lukas Feireiss and with the Green Isle and Tatjana Schneider, who curated that exhibition in Berlin in 2020, so 3 years ago. In the airport Tempelhof, Platz der Luftbrücke. For that we worked with visual material of, one way back. You didn't show anything of the exhibition, or? No. In the last? This is how it's called, eine Ausstellung über Städte, Menschen und Geschichten. So this is an exhibition dealing with the options of architecture and urban planning to create spaces in urban landscapes where the people can rest, where the people see that they are part of the movement or of the urban movement. And a lot of different projects were shown there in a really, really huge exhibition in the central hall of the Flughafen Tempelhof. For this, we created complex collages using the material of the projects that were shown there. For this, we did a set of posters, I think 8 banners as well. And this was the exhibition. As you can see, it's a huge one. Unfortunately, we had COVID. Maybe you remember. But beneath COVID, it was a really great success for the exhibition and for the space as well. We did the catalog, similar to A4 format. but only as a short glimpse. This is the next project I did with Florian, was for 100 Beste Plakate 2020. 100 Beste Plakate is a competition in Germany, Switzerland and Austria for the best posters of these three countries. And each year another designer can, or another agency can create the content or the visual content for this. And as you can see, we did a lot with this collage thing, and we wanted to stop with it, because collages are on a way to push kind of a democratic feeling or a democratic Selbstverständnis. Selbstverständnis, wer kann das übersetzen ins Englische? Self-evidence of an institution. But for this, they said you can do what you want, so we have a carte blanche. But carte blanche could be maybe make it really wild, make it colorful, make it big, but we wanted to reduce it. And the idea was behind it to write a text. This is about text at the end. And the first stop of creating the visual material was to write a text about how would I see visual material, and I want to describe it really, really short. And what are the options for me as a designer to try to declare the text as a first piece of an image and to have text as an image on the same time. And I tried to write in the train now when I was coming here to Berlin what it is about. And some days ago I read an article about lucid dreaming. Yeah, you know this technique? And ein Klartraum in German sounds much more strict. And lucid dreaming was maybe the way how the poster was created. So I was kind of a text, but at the same time I could see in a way the really simple forms, and I started to write this text, and on the same time had it in my mind and did it kind of this. Another option how to come to this image was kind of a Sonnenfleckenbild. You know what it is? Like a sunspot image. You look in the sun and you look to another space and you see the image somewhere in your closed eyes in violet, on yellow going to red and blue. Yeah, okay. But now it's black. So, and the whole design is about you have one page is a text and one page is an image. And at the same time, it was the starting point, and then we created a lot of images always based on that forms. And this was a visual material at the end, like small posters, postcards, envelopes, all this stuff. And this is a catalog, and this was at the end the core of everything. This is the cover. And the book here is divided in two parts. On the one hand, these are these 100 designers with their posters, and on the other hand, it's a book with 100 texts about the poster, and we asked 25 creative workers or people from the cultural fields to write a text about a poster, but only a description. So there are 100 different descriptions about the poster. It was in 2019, and now everybody is talking about KI, and this is maybe was a first try of us to maybe make a prompt, but we tried it and it looks horrible. So when you use this text and you bring them to a KI, it's not working. And maybe that's it's the reason why KI can't see irony and kind of a poetic grounds.
For the non-German speakers, what he means is AI, künstliche Intelligenz, artificial intelligence. So KI is...
Okay, sorry, yeah, AI.
Understood, but like
as the result, it can't understand the text. We try. No, there's no similarity from the text to the poster. So we had the chance to take the text now and say, okay, the task bar for the 25 people to have really strict and as precise as possible descriptions of the posters, and they did it, but it was not working. Okay. And the last one I want to show is the corporate design for EPFL pavilions. This is an art space based in Lausanne in Switzerland on the campus of École Polytechnique in Lausanne. And this is the art space, and this is a building of Kengo Kuma architects, a Japanese architect. And this is the border of the campus, and for this he created kind of an origami ship with a big roof, and the roof covers 3 smaller pavilions. And in this space, it's the art lab of the EPFL pavilion of EPFL, and EPFL, like Polytechnic University of the canton, is really famous for their technical labs, 3D labs, sound studio, whatever, and they wanted to have a space where art, science, and society comes together, and where they can show their work together with art. And the whole building is the basic construction of the building are frames, 52 frames, like a grid, and on this grid the roof is constructed or laid. And based on that, we did a really simple design based on grids. The whole graphic design is based on grids, like you can see on the top, and with a really strict Swiss typography and with really basic colors. But for each exhibition, we have specific colors, specific image, and specific forms. And these are the really simple forms for the cards and for the leaflets, all this stuff that are basic. This is the website. On the website, it starts to come together with image. And what I want to show you now is how we come from our first steps that are really free to a finished image based on the poster in that way. The first step is always that I have 2 days, for 2 hours a day, I only work for my own. I skip everything. It's kind of my workshop, my own workshop. Nobody can look in my files, even Florian don't have the right to do this. And Florian does the same. And in these workshops, I create forms. It's kind of playing. Maybe when you're doing music, it's kind of field recording, whatever. You use everything you use without any output that is visual, but it's only for you. And on this pool, I start to work and digitalize it. I work a lot with pencil and with sketchbooks. And I start to create forms like this, really open. And then I start to combine it with the most important things that are for a visual important, means what is written there, the date and the logos and the institution. And then I start to play with different forms and different layers, more or less simple forms. And then there's a point where the curators come to us and want to see the first results and give us a feedback. So this is not only that's it, have fun, see you later, but it's a really, really long process. Maybe this was the first one they saw, but it was too much bubblegum there. We did more strict, different colors, different forms. And then somewhere the politic comes into the poster, because this was a project where somebody gave a lot of money, and so they had to do this in the poster as well. So we had to decide to make it bigger. And then they skipped it and wanted to have another option, but later they skipped this as well. So lots of stuff. And we come to our end. It's a lot of discussion when you have many people that are involved in a project, and you have a rich narration that you can find a compromise, that all in the team feels part of the visual. It's important for out, but always, but at the same time for the people that are in the team as well. I think this is in a way nearly final. That's the final one, and we had it in the streets. We did posters, and we did a lot of brochures, advertisings in different formats. And on-site stuff as well. Unfortunately, it's forbidden from the architect to put anything on the building, because it's an art piece, the building. So the only way to work there is to have vinyls on it. It's a pity. For other exhibitions as well, it was the first one, Nature of Robotics, Cosmos Archaeology, Explorations in Time and Space. We did animation stuff for them as well. And what is important maybe here to say that all these things that are here wouldn't be able without a team. Our team structure is working that we are only 2 people. We have we have 2 freelance people that are working for us. But for example, an animation is a freelance designer as well, who is a specialist on making animations. And we have people that are, for example, making coding or working on websites. We don't do this for our own, but we do the design, and we are working with them in a team. So all the structure we do is like having a small or a big team, or to have the chance to react on the options we have on the project. So this is the last exhibition that is still there. It's based on 24 hours, because it's about on biology and time. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. A beautiful presentation, Jakob. Also wonderful to have the opportunity to go so deep into the process, not just showing projects, but really seeing how long a process takes and how many levels there are to it. So I love the complexity. I have 1,000,001 questions that I could ask you, but first I give you the chance to break the ice. And again, no shame in the game. This is the chance to ask something. Don't feel stupid about it. Yes, there's the first one over there.
Thank you for the presentation. It's a beautiful work, and it's really good to see a lot of images that we see out there in the city and in the events online or whatever that we come across. My question is about the beginning of your creation process. I don't know if you mentioned that or if I missed it, but do you do anything analog before you bring it to the digital, or do you start on a digital canvas?
It's good that you're asking me, not Florian, because Florian would say only digital. I would say never digital. I always start from the hand, because I think it's I think all we do with this visual is based on the level we have as a human. So it's all is in a way based on how it's called, on my body, at the end on my body, and how I script, like einzeichnen, like
How you inscribe?
like scribe.
Inscribe.
Yeah, inscribe. So all my starting points start with a sketch, and I have a sketchbook that is. Maybe I should have shown one of my sketchbook pages in the presentation as well, and often they are not used for a visual result that is digital and printed and whatever. But this is kind of humus.
Mm-hmm. It's
Like,
the soil.
it's a starting point for everything, and I think it's good for people creating visual materials that you have it one in your hand to have the proportion. And often I start making a lot of things that are shown here are based on collage, and the starting point is always analog. I have a printer at home and a lot of in my studio, and a lot of paper waste.
Can I actually add onto this one? But since you're a duo, how does that work? So very interesting, and thank you for that question. I didn't even know that. But how do you then, I mean, you said that you have workshops, there's a couple of hours you work on something, Flóra is not allowed to look into what you're doing and the other way around. Mm-hmm. He starts digital, you start analog. I mean, you've been working for like 13 years together. Like, what's your way and what's the trick? You're still working together.
There's no trick. Trust each other and trust the result of the other guy. And there's always, we have a lot of workshops without seeing any project, but we just show the work or what we are interested at the moment. So, for example, I'm really interested in Japanese graphic design, and then I show Florian, hey, I'm interested in Japanese graphic design. I bought an interesting book for €240 from Japanese. Have a look, it's printed really well. And then he say, I have a photo book. It's really, really old, and it's printed with technique XYZ. And we try to combine these different passions for graphic shapes or for graphic design. And often it's not about graphic design, but it's about, for example, I'm collecting wood or kind of rubbish that is based on wood, small things or old tools and all these things, and we show these things each other and try to combine it. And later on, it's getting digital, and we have kind of a carpet. We bring all these things on the carpet and try that it's not looking like a carpet. So the things are merging to each other. It's not longer like a basic grid where all these things. It's really, really simple. We started with it, I think, that the things are just like a big table and nothing. Tabelle, it's grid or it's table as well, but there's only quantity. All things are treated similar, and we try to make it more complex and to try to find new narrations, like having transparent layers. And transparent layers are not so easy to do with analog tools, and it's really good to have digital tools, because there you can play with transparency and play with the narrations of, and now another really, really important word, I don't know, Überblendung?
Superimposing.
It's superimposing?
Superimposition, yeah.
Okay, I think this is one of our tools we use really often is Überblendung. Mm-hmm. Tools from movies, making movies, making animations.
Okay. Next question.
I have a question. When you work with a lot of people on a project, it usually takes time because everybody needs to think, everybody needs to put their input into words or images. How do you not lose interest in a project that takes too long?
Can you hear it in the back, by the way, the questions? No, well, some are saying yes, some are no. This is getting mixed messages over there. So how do you not lose interest in a project when it takes so long?
I would like to give you a good answer on it, but you always have to try not to lose your humor, and you have to trust the people that all the people don't want to create shit at the end. So you have to trust when people are working together that they all want to work together. And sometimes there are people that don't want to, or they are part of the project, but you always have the feeling they do their own stuff. And at the end, it's about trusting the team, and that all wants to bring it to an end. And there's when you have a long period, you have always the time when you feel exhausted, and you, for example, I show you for the work of Zukunftsräume with a silly title. We were working on that for 2.5 months. And sometimes it's good to hear great music and to say it's my work and not their work. And then you do it for your own, and then you're coming to an end. And at the end, I think the result is not bad. So I like the result, but and I think it's even better than our first idea. But it was a long and clumsy way.
Yeah.
And when I see it now with a distance from 3 to 4 years, I would say it's okay, it's worse.
I see. Thank you.
There's 2 questions next to each other.
So I have a question like more in general, because I'm a musician and it's a little bit of a different thing, but it's about like being creative as you work. And so how do you deal with, for example, days where you have to do something and you have a project going on, but you don't really feel like the creativity is sparkling out of you. So
the big advantage is, as a graphic designer, or in our case, we are working, it's not possible to work only on one project. It's not possible because you can't live only from one project. That means we are working on maybe 20 projects on one time. And then we have periods where we have to work very intense on the stuff. And you have a period where it's only like organizing the next days or organizing the next more intensive periods. I have to talk with it a lot. We have to talk a lot with printing houses. With we do at the end the production often of the things as well, not only graphic design, but we do the production as well. So we have to deal with a lot of people. And normally my day is I have 3 kids, and they're a big inspiration for me. But my time frames are really scheduled. So I bring them to school, I can work, and then I put them back from school. In that time, there's only organization. And I do the creative stuff at night. I'm a night worker as well. And then nobody can disturb what you're doing. Then I have noise cancelling. And then I'm at home in a corner or on the balcony, and then I have 4 or 5 sometimes when I'm in the mood, 4 or 5 hours in a tunnel, and then I can work on this. But at the end, I have to be honest, you do this maybe in a distance from of 2 weeks. No, not in the...
Over a period of?
Yeah, no, I don't do this very often.
creative.
Yeah, the creative part is only really, really small. It's maybe 5% of your work.
But in the beginning of your career as a graphic designer, it has probably been like the other way around, right?
The talking was much more. When you're getting more professional, for example, we have a big advantage that we are 2 people, like good cop, bad cop methodology, or we say, okay, I'm here in a dead end, you have to help me, please. Or the client is stupid, please, you. We help each other when the other is really, I don't see any more ways. So it makes a big difference if you're alone or if you are a team. And but the biggest input at the end is the childishness of my kids. It's a moment. Yeah, 10 years ago it was techno, and it's techno till now. Or no, not techno, electronic music, or music, or like moving to music, or like feeling the proportion of your own, all this stuff. It's just, I hope it's visible in the work we do, even for Florian as well.
Mm. Yeah, you spoke of rhythm and sound, which connects to you being a musician. But your question as well.
My question is, you guys basically run the whole thing to people, and how do you, for example, one of you, when one of you really likes a project and the other one hates it, how do you settle disagreement?
It depends who's first. First things first. Yeah, it changed a little bit, because when we were younger, it was more a competition. Maybe 10 years ago, it was more a competition. And now it changed a little bit because we have so many things to do that there's only one who is the head of the project. And yeah, and when I'm the head of the project, at the end I can decide how it looks like.
And the other way around then.
Okay, I hope Florian won't see this. He will see it. But they say, no, it's like this. And for Florian, when he's doing projects, he's doing a cover and I say, oh, it's boring. But I said, no, I like it. Then he has the right to produce it. Mm. And the other thing is we have so many projects and we have so many dialogues that it's often difficult for a client to agree with two guys. And then it's much more effective and more easy when you're, especially for artist books. You have an artist who is in a more or less intimate dialogue with you on his work, and then it's much more easy for the artist that he is in a dialogue with only one. Mm. And so when I'm from, this is our big advantage. On the same time, it's sometimes it's horror that always one of us is not as deep as the other one in the project, and that means you have kind of an internal ping pong, but who is head of the project at the end is doing the project as well, and he's responsible for the project. So when there is something going wrong, yeah.
There's another question here.
Yeah, almost every piece of your work looks pretty complex and with a lot of layers. So my question is just, what is the average time you work on a poster, for example, or developing a font, and maybe how that also changed over time from the beginning, and the more professional you get, did it change?
This question, to answer this question, honestly, would take now 1.5 hours, and if we can go through the presentation, but I only showed you 50% of the projects, and we are doing books. Books are not layered as posters or as this visual material. The aim of this visual material often is, or from institution side, to, for example, when you have, it's a simple answer. When you have a group show, you have 20 people. Which image do you want to show to have all these 20 people together? Because when you are democratic and you show one of the pieces, this is the emblem, or it's enigmatic for the exhibition, and it's not really well for the other 19 parts of the exhibition, because all should be treated equal. Then you have two options. First one, all pieces together on a way to show maybe 19 of the 20, because then it looks complex, or it looks a lot of things are going there, or you say only typographic or only form. So you don't have so many different options on that point, and that's the reason why we have really, really complex stuff or really, really basic stuff. And when you, for example, working with artists, one book, and they're looking often very simple, very typographic. It's more about the sequence of the image after each other. Because this is another task. The task is to show the work of the artist and the monograph, and not to show complexity. And every cultural institution wants to show complexity. Because we are complex, we are democratic, we are open, we are not only one small thing. Yeah. Maybe this is in a nutshell No, it's not in a nutshell, but maybe a first step to an answer.
You had a follow-up question?
Yeah, not a follow-up actually. I wanted to ask, how often do you have any creative getaways, retreats or something? Because I guess you need
retreats.
Something to not get burned
No,
out.
I would like to have it.
No, last year.
Yeah, it was a retreat of 3 days, 4 days, and we were in the garden. It was cool, but we opened the Dickicht to the garden.
You don't have a system.
There's no system. I think we both would like to have it, but then you have to grow. Because then you have to give a lot of the things we do for our own to other people, and then you're always in the administration role. And it's the last thing I want to do, to be in the administration roles, because I like to design and I like to push new things and don't want to administrate this for other people. And on the same hand, when you have to do the visual output we do every day, it wouldn't be possible, because you would explode. Because then it's just too much. So it's good to make for maybe 5 or 6 posters a year, or maybe 10 once my more simple stuff, but not every day. The quality will getting really, really bad.
There's another question here.
Yes, I was wondering if, because you mentioned that you see the product as your own work rather than the client's work.
Sorry, again?
Because you said the work is your work after all and not the work of the client. You said it, I'm not sure. I was wondering, and it's also very sort of a consistent style as noticeable in the recent works that you showed us. I was wondering if you see your whole work as an expendable series of your careers, so to say, or and if you consider it as a, or no, I'm gonna reformulate, or what are things that you consider if you adapt this sort of style into new clients, institutions, etc.
Okay. Maybe this is a question about authorship at the end, and a little bit, or to the first point, for me, it's really important that the client feels comfortable with the outcome. It's, for me, maybe the most important thing, because this is always a result of a dialogue, and not only that's what you get and have fun, see you. So our idea is always to have a more or less complex dialogue, but it depends a little bit on the client, if he needs this dialogue, or even if he have a finished idea. But often the people don't have a finished idea. They have an idea of what they want to show, but they don't know anything about how to communicate this. And then this is our part. But the result must be part of the client, because he has to represent that outcome. What I said, I remember this, was when you have a really, really long period, sometimes you have to say for yourself, it's my work, and I want to push my work on a level, and when the client is not interested to push it on a level, but I want to do this, because I want to have it, I pushed a lot of work in this, a lot of power, and I want to have the final result on a good level. You have to say it's not longer your work, it's mine, and then you have to push it. And the other thing is, I see myself, and I think Florian as well, but maybe not with the same words as an author in a way, because this is not my style, but this is my toolbox, and with my toolbox I can create a lot of different visuals, but often you can see that I did it, or I can see when Florian did this. Yeah, maybe sometimes not as the image, but I was asking for. But and I think this is good to have, to say this. I'm an author. I can write. These are my toolbox. These are my skills, And we started with idea of the collage maybe 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago. Yeah, 12 years ago. And you're getting more and more into it, and you're getting more and more, you find a way how to come to an end, and you're getting more and more perfect in what you're doing there, and it's getting more and more easy for you. And that's the reason why you can make really, really complex forms. And the things, for example, this things here, I would never do this 12 years ago. I didn't have the technical skills for this. So, yeah. But maybe 12 years ago, it would be much more interesting if I would have the same task, and what would I have done there now? I don't know. But it's really based on technical skills.
So, okay, one more question, and then I think we have to kind of wrap it up, just looking at the time.
I have a bit of a silly question.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned so many different professions that you worked with as their clients. And I was wondering, what was the worst client profession to work with? Or the hardest?
Myself. It's not a joke. It's when you work for yourself, you have to be in a way schizophrenic, and that's the reason why I don't want to change with an artist, because an artist always is working for himself in a way, and he is his biggest critic on the same level, and he is in a dialogue with his own, or with her own. And we are working since 3 years on our new website, and we have a lot of discussions about it and different ideas behind it, and how we want to have images. It must be in a way perfect, but it must be perfect without looking perfect, and all this stuff. And we have a lot of discussions about it. It's a lot of circulation behind this, and I would say, I'm my worst client, definitely. Yeah.
It's a really nice
Or
one.
we are our worst clients.
Who's
Yeah.
second?
Hmm?
Who's second worst?
The second worst, Flóra.
So quick one and a tryout. What are your, like spontaneous, what are your takeaways now? We listened to Jakob, really quick, spontaneous. What are your takeaways?
Well, the creative process is 5%, so that's some nights.
The creative process is only 5%, a couple of nights. What else?
Maybe 7%, sorry.
Thank
A
you.
little bit more.
To uplift. Yes?
The result is coming from a dialogue?
The result is coming from a dialogue. More takeaways, yes?
Trust your partner's result.
Trust your partner's result, beautiful. What I see in the back here? All those back rows. Yes, please.
Keep the humor up.
Keep the humor up. It's such an important one. I can only
Definitely.
totally agree. Okay, 2 more takeaways. Yes, I see one.
Trust the team.
Trust the team, and I saw a hand raised over there, or not?
Work hard for your dreams.
Work hard for your dreams.
I didn't say that. I would never say that.
But it's nice. I like that. So beautiful. Thanks for these takeaways. Now, do you have a question to us or the audience? Okay. Then
thanks.
the final question in this juxtaposition series to every invited guest is your final piece of advice to all these different becoming artists, architects, designers, musicians, etc., etc. Your final piece of advice.
I would now don't say believe your dreams, but believe in hard work.
With that smile, warm applause.